Oh no, he left. Okay. We've got David Vanderhagen in the waiting room or in the attendee list, but no Alexi yet. Let me just. Who else? Can you guys remind me? Is it Alexi the only other one in this committee?
I think so.
John Fisher?
No, I don't think he was on
No.
this one.
Okay.
But I thought Alexi was kind of our chair, right?
Yes.
And I did try to email him last night. I didn't hear anything.
Do you have his number? I don't. Do you want to ping him or something?
I don't have his number. I don't think I have his, well, maybe I do. I have his email.
I think
I
Danielle
have
must.
I have his cell phone, but I don't have my
Hang on.
phone. My
Oh,
phone is
okay.
dead.
All right, let me try here. Lexi Miller. Okay. I will do it.
Hey, Danielle, do your kids like Calvin and Hobbes, or are they too little?
Oh, are you talking about the thing at the Jordan Schnitzer?
Yeah.
I heard about that. I don't think they have any idea who that is,
No.
but I keep meaning to take them to that. I think they'd like it.
I think I'm gonna go this weekend. I can't. I
Oh,
love
really?
Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah.
Cool.
I just thought of you just now when I was texting someone else about it. I'm like, you should go. And I'm like, oh, maybe you should go. Or Laura, maybe your kids. If do they like Calvin and Hobbes? Or do they know? Yeah. My daughter grew up with all my books that I had.
You know how interactive the show is at the Jordan Schnitzer?
I have no idea, but if I go this weekend, which I think I will, I can let you know. It goes till
Yeah,
early February, maybe.
let me know if you think a wild little 4-year-old could hang.
Hey, it's art. Let him run around,
Right.
and then leave. I mean,
Totally.
what are
It's
you
all
gonna
about
do?
the exposure, right?
Yeah. No, even if it's not very interactive.
I guess I wonder what their tolerance is for
I mean, you
crazy.
kind of gotta just roll with it
Yep.
and then leave. Just
And
don't
then leave.
stay like
Yep.
forever and then go. I
Yeah,
used
and
to take my daughter all the
campus is
time
a fun
into
place to like walk
Chicago
around.
to the Art Institute, and she has so many fond memories of things that I don't even remember at all. Like, and her
Hmm.
favorite things are so funny. Like in the basement, the weird glass paperweight collection that no one goes to. She's like, I loved that. I'm like, wow, okay.
There is a lot of stuff at the Art Institute, that's for sure.
I
Well, I
mean,
have
and it's not
text,
interactive at all.
right.
But kids love it. Like you just have to go for half an hour or, give them
Yeah.
and to have like
No
no
expectation.
expectations. And then they learn how to do it too
Yeah. Yeah.
over time.
Good for them.
The natural history
Well,
one on campus would be fun for them if you were taking them
hmm,
there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Those
I
are
think
cool.
that has some more interactive stuff. It's come a really long way
cool.
since
I haven't
We
been there
went.
in a long time. I've heard it's really cool.
I chaperoned a young high school group, which was nuts. But other than that, it was a really cool museum. Those kids,
Cool.
Well, I've
they were
texted
like high
Alexi.
school.
No, nothing yet.
Well, what does anyone else feel called to try to lead this or
I don't feel like I know enough about what's going on.
To be honest, yeah, I kind of started looking to remember where we were supposed to be and what we were supposed to be up to today. And um, having a holiday brain, and I didn't find any
Well, I
good
was
notes.
hoping maybe Alexi had an agenda
Right.
that maybe only he he
I
would
sort of
meet it
remember
with the
he was
Northwest
good.
Natural person.
Yeah, I sort of remember he was going to do some follow-up on some of the stuff we talked about last time, but other than that, I don't have a lot
I
of.
think, I mean, does anyone have the Google Docs?
Hold on.
I did
had
sort
it
of take a
pulled up.
quick look, but
I looked
it's
it over
really,
yesterday and I think I already put in all my info, so we talked about it last time. I just did like a little light edit. But it seems like there's still this, like last time we went through the spaces of what needs to get filled in and it wasn't filled in. I guess it was two
Right.
days ago. I looked at it. So we might not be ready to have a meeting right now if nothing got filled in.
Well, I'm just wondering if it's worth going back over who had
Yeah,
maybe
because
like
I
what.
don't think anyone, I asked I think for Alexi to follow up with me about what I was volunteered to do when I wasn't there. And I never heard anything back. And then it was like, to your point, Jan, holidays happened. I traveled like 3 different times and there was just like not really
Yeah.
time for me to go, hey, what am I supposed to be doing? But yeah, if we're not prepared to have this meeting, we don't want uh David Vanderhagen to just be sitting in the waiting room.
right.
I mean, is he supposed to talk to us about something specific?
No,
Like,
I think
No.
no, these meetings are just open to the public. So
oh, okay. Oh, I wasn't sure if that was like an invited guest.
no, I think he just joined via the public calendar. So um I think, I mean, I guess like Laura, do you maybe want to share what you put in yesterday? And then
It was really light because I already did everything I said I was gonna do. So last time it
Yeah.
was all there. So yeah, I don't really have. I just went back to make sure I hadn't forgotten anything. And
Oh, Mitra is on this committee. Mitra.
Oh, is she? Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about her availability or intention? No.
I know she's really, really interested in this committee. And I know she had some conversations because she couldn't make another meeting offline with Alexi about some wood stoves and some other things like that. And I was kind of hoping to maybe have an update about maybe what their conversation was. Also, I think it was about R99 and backup generators, diesel generators. I think they had some, because she's super familiar with that. And so I was kind of wondering if there could be a follow-up in the meeting, so we all know what that
Mm.
was. what
Well,
that-
Laura, which Google Doc were you working in? The fact sheet or the research working doc?
the fact sheet one where I put a tab. I forget.
Oh, on EV backup power?
Yeah, because I was doing the car
Oh,
vehicles to backup power. So
Oh,
that was my
cool.
section. So I did like a tab and added everything in there.
Alexi emailed everyone and he needs the Zoom link.
Oh,
Sorry, it just popped up.
Good. Good job. Was just looking.
I think because it was the old, I know it's recurring, but it was the old one in an email that was the wrong date last week. And it was sent out
Right.
a while back, so he probably just got it buried.
Got
let
confused.
me
Yeah.
find it.
I had it on my calendar. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have been able to find it either. Yeah, I see his email.
I'm getting the link. Webinar. God, it's crazy how many passwords you need to get into anything these days.
I know.
The password requirements have gotten like really over the top, it feels like. Ugh, why can't I get into this? Here we go.
You got it? Because I can try to get it off my
Well, it's on
calendar.
the website too.
Right, hang on. Let me see if I can find it.
Right here.
Here's this.
I found it.
Okay, good.
Zoom link. Okay, we're just gonna go ahead and call the first 15 minutes of this meeting the post-holiday fog.
That's right. Time to catch up. Remember
Time
how to
to
use,
just re-figure out what we're all doing.
remember how to use computers.
Okay, I just sent it to him.
Good, thank you.
And just a reminder, you can always find all of that information on the Sustainability Commission website. Just another plug for that.
Thank you.
All right, I'll be right.
Oh, there he is. Hi, Alexi.
There we go. I was simultaneously on the thing as an attendee from the website and then getting promoted, but I think I'm on Relay now.
Okay.
Great.
Hello,
Hi.
Happy New Year.
It's the holiday fog for sure.
It's fun.
Um, all right. We didn't really do anything in the last 14 minutes, right?
Not much.
We were just kind of like Laura was sharing that she gathered information on EVs and like that opportunity for backup power. And then it sounds like the draft fact sheet
Right.
main doc is sort of where most of the content is currently being put.
Right.
That's about as far as we got.
Okay. That sounds good. I didn't get much done during the holiday fog either. A little bit of reading and stuff, but really not a lot of content down. So I don't want to take a whole lot of extra time. Laura, you're welcome to say, here's the stuff I got to. But my sort of plan here was that, well, what I was hoping to do was actually get the thing written by today, but it's not written all the way. But to have a fact sheet draft in a Word doc that is sort of, what's the word, like a wireframe. It's not laid out, it's just a doc, but it's got the words in it, and if there's are graphics, they're sketched out, so that we can
Right.
and move that along, starting with the public facing fact sheet and then building from that into the memo to council. Is that kind of where we're all at?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good. So is all of the, do we already have that wireframe, like that content all in one place or not yet?
Well, there's the Google Doc.
Okay.
I can share screen because I've got
So
it.
you're talking about the draft fact sheet.
Yeah, this guy.
Okay, all right, I'm gonna look on screen. Right.
Yeah, so we've got this thing. There's like, this needs to actually be written, and I can actually crank it out. It's only going to take me, I don't know, 2 hours to actually write the words. And the infographic is probably at this stage like draw it on a piece of paper with a pen,
Right.
and make something that seems like it is a good starting point, and then bounce that to folks at Eugene once we have the actual information in it. Someone who's actually a graphic designer can say, well, how about this way? Or, oh, we have icons for these things that we can pull, that kind of stuff.
What is the content for the infographic? Like that chart kind of, or
Yes,
but just more graphically pretty?
right. And we got a little bit of filling in to do on it, not a whole lot, it's basically done, but yeah, this is the type of content. Maybe we throw some icons on the top. I don't know if others have a different vision for what we're talking about here, but the idea is like here are the types of systems that you could use as a clean and reliable backup energy source. And you guys might not have big screens. Here are the systems we might be talking about. These are the types of things. This is how big they are. This is like how much they cost. I think per kilowatt hour is like a little weird. So we might want to do like total cost and relative cost per energy, right? Like total cost, a phone charger does not cost $1,000. It costs like 20.
Like $50, yeah, max.
Yeah. But a grid tied battery does not cost $250. It costs like $10,000. So I think we got a little bit of work to do on that. Like, what's the price range of the thing itself? The upfront cost, and then like relatively, what do you get? And maybe there's a place for per kilowatt hour, in there somewhere. But
Is the larger batteries, is that like a Tesla Powerwall, or
Yep.
is that like that thing that Uber thing we were looking at? Or
that's like it's not a Powerwall. It's like it's those.
We got one for Christmas. It's kind of smallish, but
oh, really?
Electric,
yeah,
they're not.
It's like about, I can't lift it. It's about the size of like a small igloo cooler. Carry it.
Yeah.
So
They're
you
like
could use it.
large things.
Yeah. And I'm sure they come in all sizes. Yep, that's it. Like a
This
Jackery.
sort of thing, but
Yep,
like that's the tiny
exactly.
version. Here's like a big version, right? It's the size of a generator or a cooler. You can run, big stuff off it for a while. You're not going to run your entire house, but you can probably plug in your fridge and charge your phones for days on end. You probably can't run space heaters, but you could run, I don't know, a decent amount of stuff.
Okay. Cool.
So it's the in between a little pocket size phone charger bank and a Powerwall.
That's a 1,500. We got 1,000. So ours is small.
Yeah.
We were happy to realize though we can now take it on river trips and use our thing to blow up our rafts with it.
Oh, cool.
Right. Yeah, totally. That's a good call. Lights, phones. Yeah. So I think, yeah, we'd want to fill in like,
Fridges, that's a big one. Health equipment,
Yes.
CPAP machine.
Depending on the size, I think you get it and how long you're trying to do it. But
yep.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
Yeah.
Mitra's gonna join. Sorry, she just texted me.
Oh, okay. So we got some stuff to fill in. And then we go ahead and write some of this. Some of this is somewhat ready. I got to make a couple of examples. I liked how we landed on these last time. And then there's just like a couple of resources.
This is awesome.
So the next step is actually write this. There's a little bit of info, and Laura, you said you did some snooping around on cars and research, so maybe there's some info to put in here. And then my hope is we clean it up, we make a nice looking thing, and it becomes the outline for a memo to council, and the memo to council has more stuff in it. Maybe examples of policies, or there are rabbit holes they don't dive deep, but we can like explain a little bit more. Here's this stuff. If you don't care, skip this page, right? So,
what are examples of policies?
Well, there's policies or projects. So for instance, NBI is actually my company, and one of the projects I'm leading is an electric school bus powered resiliency hub up in Hood River, where we've got a microgrid that can take an electric school bus, it can take stationary batteries, it can take solar energy, or it can take grid energy to power the gym, which is a community emergency resilience center. Day to day, they drive the bus around and it's electric, but in an emergency, if the power's out, they can have this community resource. So that's like
That's cool.
that's an example of multiple types of these systems coming into one place, and people could come in and charge up their portable batteries using the gym
Mhm.
solar or whatever. So that's an example of a local scale resiliency, clean and reliable use backup energy solution. So I'd want to have like, here are some projects that are happening. You know, there's some
Mhm.
school bus, there's some that are transit bus. That's just like the bus side. There are also some cities that are doing, you know, like the MUPTI program. There's MUPTI type stuff for resiliency. There's green energy components. Sometimes people get like a height variance for being very efficient. They get to go one floor higher. And some jurisdictions are noodling on whether they could do something similar for community resiliency hubs. So there's like a little bit of stuff like that. I got to flag some of it. I have it chaotically put together in a piece of paper.
Mhm.
But
Yeah, that'd be cool to have a sort of like some case studies of
Yeah.
how this is happening in larger scales. And I think another plug to include in that is like what the county's doing. I mean, it's still vague, but they have like 20 million, you know, it could be at the level of they've got 20 million, and this is sort of how they're planning to increase resilience across the region.
Yeah, exactly.
Just to make sure, you know, just another like reinforce that to council. They like those kinds of stories.
Right. Oh, go ahead, Devin.
Kind of thinking about council and their bandwidth in the chart and stuff like that. Is there, and I read through that, just was rereading through it now, like maybe an example that could be in there, like how long you could run a fridge, like pick an appliance or pick one thing. And in the chart, like this is how long this would run. I know it says kilowatt hours, but for a lot of people, they're like, I
I don't know
don't,
what that means.
whatever that means. I want actual hours. I want minutes. Like how long can I run my fridge for 5 minutes or 5 days? You know, I'm
Mhm.
just making that up, right? But I
Totally.
think that that would be really valuable for the audience that we are reaching out to, especially with my experience, with how much they really know about any of this stuff is kind of shallow a lot of times.
Yeah, that's it. We in the fact sheet we were going to do on the backside a couple of real basic examples, like run my fridge for a day and charge my phone, or like the power's out for 5 days, right? 2 flavors. But in council, we could have 5 or 10 of them that are like example of this. I want to do this thing. Here's some systems that would do it. I want to do that thing. You know, just like we have it once or twice for the public, we could do it more for council. So then they know. But I guess like the point is like, what did they get? My question is, what do they get out of it? And it's because they're in the end, it's informative, sure, but we would want to provide them information that is potentially useful for some kind of a policy
Decision
decision
making. Yeah.
or something. And
What
so
do they need to
it's
know for
really
that?
like, that's why I was saying the policy case studies are relevant, because then they could have maybe there's some policy lever that says, hey, in a 5-day outage in an ice storm, these are the systems that are quite important. Council could do these things to encourage the adoption of those systems.
That would be a cool thing to, I think, I mean, that's what's fresh in council's mind is like the ice storm and how much they heard from their constituents. So I think speaking directly to that would be helpful for council. Like, you know, this type of information would be useful to share in the next ice storm, like to help us
Yeah.
prepare our community prepare for the next ice storm or
Maybe
something.
maybe that's how we should do it for council. It's like event or driver, ice storm, wildfire, public safety shut off from fire damage, like actual fire, earthquake. We got like 4 or 5 emergency type things. And each one of them has, you know, systems that are useful, potential sort of like policy or similar pathways that council could use to encourage their adoption? What sort
What
of,
could they do to, but that's where, like, what are interventions could council do to encourage adoption?
might just be informational, make
Is
sure
it
if there's the county is putting in resiliency hubs, right? Um, can,
integrate?
how many 1,000-watt backup systems like Jan got can be charged at a resiliency hub before it runs out of juice itself? Like how many
Well,
does that supply?
yeah, I think they'll get lost in the numbers, but I think like maybe the message is more like the call to action for council is, and like the city as an organization is like, integrate this information into your emergency preparedness like planning efforts, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mitra, do you have a? I
Is
see.
there any intention to disseminate this information or some iteration of it out to the public, like through our tabling events or our website or anything? Because I feel like that would be really helpful.
That's
Um,
why we're talking about making a fact sheet, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
that infographic. And I mean, a lot of this
Yeah.
content, it's makes it really easy for me to like slap this into our website.
Yeah, because it seems like there might be two documents that are targeted
Yes.
for two different. Okay, sorry. Sorry, I'm coming in late.
One for council, one for like the general public.
All right.
And I got no problem with posting both of them and saying, here's the fact sheet. If you want more detail, take a look at this memo to council.
All right.
Sure.
Yeah, and I mean it's like memo to council, but it's also like it's more than that, you know, it's like how can this content be useful for like the city organization as a whole in its like climate work. So
In terms of presentation, Alexi, when you were talking about sorting it sort of by type of event, would there really be a difference between what causes the outage, if it's a fire or an ice storm, versus really the number of days that it's out, really? Or is it otherwise, is there a difference that I'm sort of missing? Much. Get what I'm saying?
yeah.
Solar
I think-
power is involved, then yes, because a wildfire is going to happen in the summer and the days are longer and it's sunnier versus a ice storm where solar is not going to do as nearly as much.
So
it's that.
winter, summer, yeah.
Yeah, winter, summer. Also, the loads you need in winter are different because of heating. You don't want the pipes to, and heating systems need a lot more power than air cleaner systems, which is what you'd want in a summer wildfire. So
Okay. That
that's
makes
the big
sense.
difference.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a huge like power supply and power load, but that does drive which kind of systems you want. So I think it would be helpful to say, what's the event that triggers this backup system to get used? What are the loads that it's going to power? What are the systems people might use? And all, like maybe not every time there is some policy driver. Maybe it's like, here's what people might be putting out there. Um, the fire department probably cares very much if there's grid integrated battery systems because there's risk of backfeed. A little portable 1,000-watt thing, whatever. They're like, yeah, sure, please don't light on fire. But a power wall that's linked up to the grid, they want to make sure it doesn't fry their firefighters. So there's a little bit of that.
So it's a little bit more about not what triggers the need, but like, because that could be similar, but what kind of systems are required to respond appropriately to that trigger, like, and what time of year those would be more likely to take place?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was just thinking about, yeah, like in each situation, it's going to be, yeah, loss of power due to downed trees or loss of access, and but the air quality thing is definitely important, and the time of year, whether you're needing heat or air conditioning or filtration or whatever.
Danielle, you're a little closer to council. What do you think are there like 3 things, 4 things? I kind of reeled off a couple, but if I were gonna, or if we were gonna put together like a half a page on each to council about what is the thing, how many days, what's the load like, what are the systems like, and maybe what
Mhm.
is there any policy thing? What are the top level events or use cases, do you think?
I don't think you need to paint out every scenario.
Mhm.
Like, I think giving 2 or 3 examples of like, if you needed just your phone, if you needed your freezer and a CPAP versus if you needed like your full heat, like, I think that's plenty. You don't need to paint out 10 different ones. So keep that
Okay.
somewhat simple. I think in terms of the projects and case studies, that's going to be really interesting to them. And I think like the electric powered school bus for sure. Any ways this could integrate with MUPD would be interesting to them. And then I think the Wayne County work that's happening would be good to highlight. And like integrate it into emergency preparedness efforts. Those would sort of be 4 what's the like the heading for that section could be like program and policy interventions, I guess, for how this, I don't know, maybe better language of that, but something like that. And then I think just like attaching the graphic, like the chart for them, that's going to speak the loud, like that's going to be the easiest to
Yeah, I think
latch
we
on
start
to.
with that. Yeah.
And then like you could provide, I mean, and I can help provide upfront, maybe providing like context of like why this committee was formed, how it dovetails with the engagement that staff did last year and like the city's staff's like building decarb work. I think that would be good. And I mean, a good timeline to shoot for getting this to council is probably April. Like going to a public testimony, share this through public testimony in April, I think would be a good, because that's when staff's going to be that's the next time we're going to city council to talk about like broadly speaking our climate action plan and our decarb work. So this could just be that's when council will have that stuff in their mind.
And is the way we would do that, one of us would take 2 or 2.5 minutes as a public person and say, hey, we did this thing. We provided you, a memo. There's also a public fact sheet. Here's my 1-minute overview of what it is. Would you, Danielle, then be able to give more detail, or one of us?
Yeah, I think so. The best way is like someone from this committee, possibly Alexi, should go to the public hearing that's before our session. And then when me and Ian go to council, we can just, reemphasize it. I don't think I mean, we're trying to cover a ton of ground in our 15 minutes that we're going to have. So I probably, 2 to 3 sentences at most. And
Okay.
like a picture is probably what I could do for our session. But, and then like,
Really is just written, like we can tell them the written memo exists, but we're really relying
yes.
on them to read it.
Yep. And well, and then again, next November, when the commission goes to city council to talk about the annual report and work plan, that would be when you could spend like 2 or 3 minutes talking about this.
We should probably shoot to get the memo to them in advance of this April public session,
Yep.
whatever the date is, right? So they have a chance to read it.
And it needs to be approved by the commission overall, so we should have
Yeah.
the thing done in the next month so that it can go to
February.
C in February and be done in March.
Yeah.
Might be able to push that a month, but it's probably this needs to get done in time for approval by the ESC in a month and a week.
Right.
At the February session.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least a rough draft of it. Graphics could still be in the works or something like that, but I think a draft would be good.
Do we need to tell city graphics people that this is coming so they can put it in their queue?
Yeah, I'll work on that. I mean, it doesn't seem particularly fancy, right, of a graphic.
No, but
But
I
it's still,
know graphics people like to know things,
I know, I'll start talking to them.
like, hey, we got a 2-hour job. Oh, cool. I'll do that next month.
Yeah, I mean, if you could get me I mean, it looks like the graphic content of that chart is mostly all there,
Pretty,
right?
yeah.
I,
I'll have a sketch of it soon, and I might be able to get that. I should be able to get that on a piece of paper at next month's meeting, so I can give you a piece of paper.
Okay. Well, that'd be great if we shoot for that, like, but by the February committee meeting for this committee in February, so like first week of February, let's plan to have like the graphics rough draft and like the council memo and the infographic, or well, I guess two things, yeah.
So there's some stuff to write. The public facing fact sheet, I think, is the first place. It's pretty close. Like, I made sure you weren't on yet, but I said I haven't done much over the holidays, but I think it's at a point where I can probably just take 2 hours and bang it out. Draw out the fact sheet on a piece of paper and write the rest of the content. It's not too far off. If any of you have numbers or info you want to stick in there, great, happy to it. But I'll also just raise my hand and just do that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just take one more read through of it
Oh, of course, yeah, of
the
course.
next few days, and yeah,
Yeah.
so you have. Yeah.
I'm not trying to like lay claim to it. I'm just willing to do it.
No. I mean, now before you try to do that, we should make sure to take a look through.
Was
Alexi,
there,
oh, sorry.
oh, sorry, you go, Mitra, because I'm kind of going on a different place.
If we have some information that we would want added to that, should we just email you directly or put it in the air as a comment, or how do you prefer?
Yeah, put it in there as a comment.
Okay, cool.
That's great. If you can email me, it won't hurt, but in there as a comment's great because I'll be doing it live in the Google Doc. And then we would be trying to get the council memo done by next month in a draft form, right? What's the review, Jan or Devin or Danielle? What's the, like, how does that stack up to have something to council by April in terms of our own process?
That's fine. I mean, whatever final draft you give to me, I just have my executive approve it and then it goes through the city manager's office. It usually takes about a week and a half to 2 weeks.
And do we need a draft by February to go to ESC, the big ESC? So that gets a chance to review in between February and March, and then it's done with ESC by March, right off it goes to council?
I would think that would be good. I mean, we do have to have the whole commission review it and approve it, right? So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and we've got, I think it would be good to shoot for that because there's a lot of new faces on the commission. And so I think it's good process to give them chance to weigh in and then vote, or like a chance for them to weigh in and see it and then make changes and then vote to approve, like at the next
Right.
meeting.
So then what I would want to do then is have a draft of the fact sheet. We're probably, the packet just went out. Thank you, Danielle. I don't know that there's room on the agenda formally, but I can raise it as updates from commissioners and say, hey, we've got this fact sheet. I printed out some copies, or like, here it is linked. It's 2 pages, so I'll just run through it. This is what we're talking about in 1 minute. And then would be nice to say, hey, we'd like, comments on that by next month so that we can finalize this thing in February. For the council memo, it might be more helpful to actually be on the ESC agenda in February, so we could explain what this thing is, because it's not going to be 2 pages, it might be 10, and say, here's this doc, we've got the stuff in it, run down it a little bit, and then you've all got a chance to, you've all, meaning the whole commission, has a chance to read it and review it. We'd like to get it finalized in March and off it.
Voted on in March. Yeah.
Put it out of commission in March, the big thing, the memo to council, voted out in March so that it can go to city council. Before.
Why not just do those both in February? Rather than pushing the fact sheet through next week.
Well, doable. I mean, I was thinking the fact sheet's pretty close. And I
Yeah.
got a rough draft for folks to review next week to say this thing exists, it's ready for you to take a look. And it could be both done at the same time. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just hoping I work on deadlines, and if I have a deadline, I'll make the thing happen.
Okay.
If
I can also revise. I mean, yeah, if you get me something by like Monday, I could send out a revised packet.
I'm thinking that
But
might be a
that
good
seems
idea,
rushed.
Yeah, it's rushed.
So it could be homework.
Say
I
again,
just feel
Devin.
leery about having people like showing something in real time and having people like
No, I don't
No,
think that
not
we
vote
can
on
do that.
No, it's not vote on it. It's say, here's this thing, it's a draft.
Yeah.
You've got a whole month to take a look. We're gonna vote it out February. But
Right.
it'd be nice to have a fact sheet draft in January next week to give people a whole month to look it over.
Like say, like I said, like say, hey, there's homework. Take a look at this before you come to the February meeting. That's
Mhm.
what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Like, I think that's super appropriate. I think it's nice when that happens, especially if then in February we're going to sit down and look at it and actually vote on it. It kind of is like maybe somebody will look at it ahead of time.
Well, no, but I think I'm still confused. So like, because by February, we're also for the February packet, we're also planning to include the council memo, right?
Right.
So
Draft, yes. But that
draft
might
of both.
yeah, that's right. I think for January, I think it's unlikely that there's the fact sheet on this hand and the memo on this hand. Fact sheet's smaller. The fact sheet could go in draft to the broader Sustainability Commission after next week's meeting, after January's meeting, and get voted on in February's meeting. The broader memo, that would serve as like an intro to the topic for the rest of the commissioners, some of whom are new. The bigger memo to council would be a draft in February's meeting and voted out in March's meeting.
Yeah.
If necessary, the fact sheet could get pushed a month to be the same timeline, but it's helpful for people mentally to have seen the 2-page version before they see the 10-page version.
The thing is, I'm not sending out, like, your options are either get it to me by Monday and I can amend the current packet, or I'm going to send out a new packet like a week before the February meeting. There's not really much communication that goes out to the commission like after next week's meeting. You know what I mean? I guess I could.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, if I get the thing written by this week and it's clean by Monday, how do the rest of the people feel? Jan, Laura, Mitra, and Devin, how do you feel about having a draft in an updated packet if there's something written by them? Okay.
That's good. And we could also just mention it in the updates and then send it.
That's what I was gonna say.
I mean, is it okay? Can Alexi send it to the whole commission after mentioning it in the updates and have them look at it like over the month, even though you don't have to send it, and then it will be included officially
in
like,
February's packet.
Yeah.
in a more formalized form. Okay.
That's what I was gonna suggest. I think that's a little simpler. People we can give them a heads up that it's coming, raise the subject verbally, and then get them to draft and track the things together.
I just don't think people are really gonna like, they send out I don't, well, we send out the packet a week before. I think that's plenty of time for people to review something. And I think it'll create a little bit of confusion to like send it out a month before, but then again, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe we're overthinking this. But for my purposes, I'm not gonna include anything for the January packet, but for the February packet, I'll plan to include both. Is that correct? And there might be an email that gets sent out after next month's meeting, after this coming meeting, that includes just the fact sheet.
Yeah, yeah. And there will be a verbal mention of it all at this meeting.
Yeah.
Here's what's coming down the line. Yeah.
I think the intention of releasing the draft right after this upcoming meeting
Mhm.
is so that we can incorporate whatever feedback the commissioners might have for the fact sheet to produce a draft that would be voted on, that would probably be published in the packet. So there is like a difference between those two. It wouldn't just be the same document. It's like in hopes that people who do have information and want including or want to be part of the process haven't a chance to be, and then the others can just vote on it at the February meeting and have that week to kind of put in final changes or whatever. But it gives an opportunity for those who want to like give it a little more attention to do so before we present a more finalized draft that would be voted on in February. And then we would have a rough draft of the other document in February. So we have a more finalized draft to be voted on and a rough draft to present in February. Is that correct? To the city council? The policy suggestion document.
Mhm.
The memo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then I just need to sit down and spend 2 hours writing the fact sheet first.
I remember vaguely remembering we had a conversation about inviting someone from the county to come speak to this committee. Does that still feel necessary? Do you guys want that to happen or no?
I don't want to take up their time if we don't need to. I don't think it's key.
Okay.
I think if we can flag who at the county is most involved in the Resilience Center work, maybe we could send them the draft fact sheet just informally and say, are we referring to the right stuff when we tell people there will be these emergency centers? Here's where to find out information, here's where they're going to be located. It might be nice to have that person's eyes on the thing so that they have a chance to correct it or add info or whatever.
And
Okay.
yeah, did we say too, we wanted to check in with the city emergency management staff, but then you said there really wasn't anybody right now, or?
Yeah, the office has been like kind of hard to they're just down-staffed.
A lot of turnover.
Yeah, I think I can take on that part, like
Okay.
collaborating with my counterparts at the county and the city's emergency staff to confirm that like the content's accurate about like, emergency centers and where to
Right.
go for information and stuff like that when there's an emergency. So
Cool. Sounds like a
Okay.
plan.
Danielle, is the LRRC, is that still active?
It is, I think. I haven't been too involved with it, but I know that we have a big meeting with the county in a couple weeks and a bunch of other partners who are involved in like that resilience grant. So I think, and the county's convening us, so that's all I can really say for now. I don't really know. Like, I think we're
Because it
gonna
looks
update
like they
them.
haven't had a meeting since October 2023.
That might be true.
It's kind of a cool thing, but I'm just wondering, like, and there's
The
a link on here.
LLRC? What is that?
LRRC, yeah.
Oh,
There's two. There's like the Lane Regional Resilience Hub or Coalition, Lane Regional
Collaborative.
Resilience Coalition, and then there's the Lane Regional Climate Collaborative. There are a
Right.
lot of the same partners. It's like eWeb, County, City, Springfield, like
Oops.
The Lane Regional Climate Collaborative disbanded in 2023. I was the representative from the Sustainability Commission that was joining those meetings, and it's no longer
I
happening.
think that's
So,
something else.
oh,
Mm.
Yeah, this is
Okay,
Lane Regional Resiliency Collaborative.
I'm talking about the Lane.
Yeah.
Or no, that was the statewide. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Statewide thing. I mean,
No wonder I'm
think
confused.
names of these groups change over the years, but I
Yeah.
think the takeaway for you guys to know is like we work closely with our partners often. Just like staff change, people change, but like overall we're talking across organizations.
Yeah.
But there isn't a real set structure for that right now, is what you're saying.
Well, I think it changes. Like we were meeting regularly with like Springfield, Lane County, and a few other organizations to go after some different grants. We were largely successful in getting a lot of grants, and I think now it's sort of pivoting to like implementation of those grants. And so the people change, the staff that you're talking to change. And so there's sort of this constant like, okay, who should be meeting now? Is this the most efficient use of time? Now, who should we be meeting with? So it's like this evolving target.
Okay.
I gotta jump off everybody because I have to prep for another meeting.
Oh yeah, we're coming up on time.
It's good
Okay.
to
Okay.
talk to all of you.
I also have to
All right.
leave.
All right.
I'm sorry.
feel free
Bye, Laura.
at Google Doc, and I will, if you got comments, put them in as comment. You can flag me by email, sure, but otherwise, my target is Friday. I'm gonna spend that's tomorrow sometime. I'm gonna
Okay.
block out an hour or two and try to just bang out the public facing memo.
Fact sheet.
Awesome.
Great.
Thanks,
Sounds
Alexi.
awesome. Thanks,
Thanks,
Alexi.
everybody.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.